Two sick dogs hugged moments before being put down. But shocked vet immediately stops because, in a quiet rural animal shelter, the air is thick with an unspoken sorrow. Two aging dogs, Rex and Luna, lie together in a small, dimly lit kennel, their bodies frail and worn. The rhythmic sound of soft whines fills the silence, a haunting melody of forgotten love and loyalty. Today is their last day. Rex, with his once mighty frame now crippled by painful arthritis, leans gently against Luna, who struggles to breathe under the weight of her heart disease. They've faced the world together, but now, as the shadows of their lives grow longer, their fate hangs in the balance. With every passing moment, the reality of their impending end looms larger. They share a quiet hug, their heads resting against each other, a final act of comfort and companionship. In this moment they reflect the bond forged through years of loyalty and love. It's a sight that tugs at the heartstrings, a reminder of the sacrifices they've made and the lives they've touched. Dr. Harris, the veterinarian, steps into the room, her heart heavy with the weight of the decision she must make. But something about the way Rex and Luna cling to each other stops her in her tracks. She feels a stirring within, a flicker of hope amidst the despair. Ignoring the clock ticking down to their final moments, she approaches them, her curiosity piqued. As she scans their microchips, the truth begins to unravel, revealing a story long buried beneath the surface. What she uncovers next will change everything. Rex and Luna, once thought lost to the chaos of war, are not just any dogs. They are heroes, former military canines who served bravely on the front lines. The realization hits her like a bolt of lightning. Time is running out, but so is their chance at redemption. In this small shelter, a miracle is about to unfold. One that will resonate beyond its walls and remind the world of the unsung heroes that walk among us. In the days leading up to that fateful moment, whispers filled the air at the shelter. The staff and volunteers, once bustling with hope and laughter, now moved with heavy hearts, casting glances toward Rex and Luna's kennel. The world outside continued its chaotic rhythm, but inside, time seemed to stand still. "Did you hear?" a young volunteer named Mia said. Her voice barely above a whisper as she leaned against the wall. "They were canines. Can you believe it? Heroes, and now, this." She shook her head, fighting back tears as she glanced through the bars of the kennel, where Rex and Luna lay intertwined, a living testament to their bond. "I know," replied Tom, the shelter manager, his face lined with worry. "It's tragic. They deserve so much more than this." He paused, his eyes heavy with unspoken thoughts. "I just wish we could do something, anything." Outside, a group of children walked by, their innocent chatter punctuating the somber atmosphere. They spotted the two dogs and stopped, eyes wide with curiosity. "Why aren't they playing?" one child asked, tilting her head as she watched the quiet scene unfold. "Maybe they're waiting for someone," another child suggested, his voice filled with wonder. "What do you think they're waiting for?" The group huddled closer, their imaginations ignited by the sight of the two ailing dogs. Meanwhile, as the day turned to dusk, the shelter staff gathered for their routine meeting, voices hushed as they discussed the difficult decisions ahead. "It's heartbreaking," Mia said, her voice trembling. "They've given so much. Can we really just let them go?" "We have to be practical," Tom replied, though his tone faltered. "It's what's best for them. They're suffering." But the emotional weight of the conversation hung heavily in the air, thick with unresolved tension. The staff exchanged glances, each grappling with the moral dilemma of life and death. Back in the kennel, Rex lifted his weary head, his soft brown eyes meeting Luna's. Their bond was palpable, a silent understanding that transcended words. With a gentle nudge, Luna responded, her tail thumping weakly against the floor, a final gesture of love. In that moment, Dr. Harris felt the weight of not just their lives but the lives they had saved. She closed her eyes, imagining the battlefield where they had once raced, side by side, through smoke and chaos, their courage unmatched. "What if they're waiting for something more?" she whispered to herself, her heart racing with the thought. Outside, theories bubbled among the volunteers. Some believed the dogs were searching for their lost family, while others speculated they might be protecting something, perhaps a secret buried deep within their past. "Maybe they're waiting for their chance to be heroes again," one volunteer proposed, her eyes shining with hope. The tension in the air thickened, a palpable force that pulled everyone closer to Rex and Luna's fate. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting golden rays through the shelter windows, a sense of urgency settled in. "Maybe we should reach out to the military," Mia suggested suddenly, her eyes lighting up with an idea. They might want to know what happened to their K9s. They could help. Tom considered this, the wheels turning in his mind. You might be onto something. They deserve to be honored, not forgotten. As night fell and the shelter fell silent, the only sound was the soft rustle of fur against fur. Rex and Luna, oblivious to the discussions swirling around them, simply clung to one another, their bond unbreakable even in the face of despair. The next morning as dawn broke, Dr. Harris made her decision. With urgency fueled by the stories and theories that surrounded her, she rushed to the kennel, her heart pounding. I can't let them go like this, she thought. They are heroes. They deserve a fighting chance. As she entered the kennel, the soft light illuminated the dogs, and she felt a surge of determination. I'm going to find out who you really are, she said softly, kneeling beside them. I promise. If this story is touching your heart, make sure to comment from where you are hearing this amazing story. With newfound resolve, she scanned their microchips again, hoping for answers. And when the information flashed on the screen, her breath caught in her throat. The truth was more incredible than she had ever imagined. Rex and Luna were not just any dogs. They were legends lost to history, waiting for someone to remember their bravery. As Dr. Harris prepared to reach out to the military, a wave of hope washed over her. She could feel the energy shift in the room, a promise of redemption for these forgotten heroes. The whispers of the staff, the theories of the volunteers, and the innocent questions of the children, they all coalesced into a single, undeniable truth. Rex and Luna had not yet finished their story. And as she dialed the number to the military base, the shelter filled with an electric anticipation, a feeling that something monumental was about to unfold. The tension hung in the air like a live wire, crackling with potential as the world outside continued to spin, oblivious to the miracle that was about to happen within those walls. As Dr. Harris continued to scan Rex and Luna's microchips, a shocking revelation emerged. The data revealed not only their previous military service but also a name that sent chills down her spine: Captain James Hawthorne. The name resonated in the depths of her memory. He was a celebrated war hero, known for his unwavering courage and dedication to his K9 partners. But there was more, a dark twist to his story that had faded into the background of the war's chaos. Captain Hawthorne had been declared missing in action years ago. His fate a mystery that haunted the military community. The thought that Rex and Luna had been by his side during those harrowing times suddenly shifted everything. Dr. Harris thought she knew about these dogs. They were not just veterans. They were living remnants of a tragedy that had left countless scars on those who served alongside them. Dr. Harris's heart raced as she realized the implications of this discovery. What if Captain Hawthorne was still alive? What if he had been searching for them all these years? The idea was both exhilarating and terrifying, and she felt an overwhelming urge to dig deeper into their connection. With renewed determination, she quickly initiated a call to the military base. This is Dr. Harris from the Willow Creek Animal Shelter. I have an urgent matter regarding 2K9S Rex and Luna. They were partnered with Captain James Hawthorne, who went missing in action several years ago. On the other end, the voice of Colonel Ramirez responded, surprise evident in his tone. Are you certain about this? Captain Hawthorne's case is still open. We've never found any trace of him. If what you're saying is true, this could change everything. Dr. Harris could hardly breathe as she explained the situation. I believe they might still be connected somehow. If Captain Hawthorne is alive, we need to find him. These dogs deserve that chance. As the conversation continued, a sense of urgency enveloped the shelter. Colonel Ramirez promised to send a team to investigate further, and within hours the shelter buzzed with the energy of possibility. The staff and volunteers gathered, their spirits lifted by the thought of a potential reunion that could rewrite the ending of Rex and Luna's story. But beneath the excitement, a shadow of doubt lingered. What if Captain Hawthorne had moved on? What if he had found peace without his beloved companions? As the team prepared for their investigation, whispers of skepticism rippled through the crowd. He might not even want them anymore, Tom muttered, his voice low as he watched the dogs snuggle closer together, seeking comfort in their shared warmth. Mia overheard and felt a pang of frustration. How can you say that? They're family. They've waited for him all this time. We can't just assume the worst. She turned to the others, her eyes pleading for understanding. These dogs have been through hell. They deserve the chance to be reunited with the one who fought for them. As the day progressed, the shelter transformed into a hub of anticipation. Volunteers hung signs and spread the word on social media, igniting a wave of interest in Rex and Luna's story. The world outside began to take notice and people rallied together, sharing their hopes and dreams for the dog's future. But as night approached, a troubling thought crossed Dr. Harris's mind. What if Captain Hawthorne didn't want to see them again? What if he had chosen to leave the past behind, unable to face the memories that would flood back upon seeing his old companions? The idea gnawed at her, casting a shadow over the hope that had blossomed just hours before. In the dim light of the shelter, she found herself kneeling beside Rex and Luna, their gentle breaths a soothing rhythm in the charged atmosphere. "I'm going to do everything I can to bring you two back home," she whispered, the words meant for both the dogs and the man they had served. Suddenly, a commotion erupted outside. The front doors burst open as a group of military personnel, clad in uniforms adorned with medals, strode in with purpose. Among them was Colonel Ramirez, his expression a mix of urgency and resolve. "Dr. Harris, we need to talk," he said, his voice commanding attention amidst the hustle. As they gathered in a circle, the weight of the moment settled heavily. Colonel Ramirez revealed that while they had been investigating Captain Hawthorne's disappearance, they had uncovered a startling lead that could potentially change everything. "We received information that he may still be alive," he said, his voice steady but laced with emotion. "There have been sightings of him in a remote area well outside of the combat zone. Our team is organizing a rescue mission." The room fell silent, the gravity of the news sinking in. Dr. Harris felt a surge of hope, but it was quickly overshadowed by the enormity of what lay ahead. "What if he doesn't want to come back? What if he's moved on?" she asked, voicing the doubt that had plagued her since the day began. Colonel Ramirez nodded, acknowledging her fears. "That's a possibility we have to consider. But we owe it to them, to Rex, Luna, and Captain Hawthorne, to at least try. They deserve closure, whether it's together or apart." The tension in the room shifted, igniting a fire of determination among the shelter staff. They rallied together, brainstorming ways to support the rescue mission. The volunteers organized a campaign to raise awareness, and soon the story of Rex, Luna, and Captain Hawthorne began to spread like wildfire across social media, capturing the hearts of people everywhere. As the hours turned into days, the shelter transformed into a beacon of hope. People from all walks of life shared their stories of loyalty, love, and the unbreakable bond between humans and dogs. The world was watching, and with each passing moment, the anticipation grew. Finally, the day of the rescue mission arrived. A team of soldiers, led by Colonel Ramirez, prepared to set out to find Captain Hawthorne. Dr. Harris stood by Rex and Luna, her heart racing as she watched the soldiers gear up for the journey ahead. "Whatever happens, you two are heroes," she whispered, her voice steady despite the fear swelling within her. "You've given so much, and now it's time to find your family." With a final nod, the soldiers boarded their vehicles, leaving behind a wave of hope and determination. The shelter staff gathered, united in their shared belief that they could still change the outcome of this story. They watched as the convoy disappeared down the road, a symbol of hope heading into the unknown. And as the sun set on that pivotal day, they held their breaths, waiting for news that could alter the lives of Rex, Luna, and Captain Hawthorne forever. The world had come together, driven by the unyielding belief that love and loyalty could conquer even the darkest of pasts. The journey was far from over, but now, it was filled with the promise of redemption and the chance for a reunion that could heal the wounds of war. As the sun rose the next morning, a new urgency filled the air at the shelter. Dr. Harris was restless, her thoughts consumed by Rex and Luna's past and the possibility that Captain Hawthorne might still be alive. The military team was set to depart soon, but she couldn't shake the feeling that she needed to do more. With a determined spirit, she gathered the shelter staff. "We have to prepare for the possibility that they'll find him," she declared, her voice unwavering. "Rex and Luna deserve to know their handler, and we need to help in any way we can." Tom, the shelter manager, nodded in agreement. "Let's make a media kit. We can share their story even more widely. If Captain Hawthorne is out there, we want him to know that his dogs are waiting for him." The staff rallied, pouring their hearts into the campaign. They crafted posters, wrote heartfelt messages, and shared touching videos of Rex and Luna, capturing their essence as both warriors and companions. Each clip showcased their loyalty, their strength, and the deep bond they shared. As the hours passed, the shelter transformed into a hive of activity. Volunteers worked tirelessly to spread the word across social media platforms, igniting a spark of hope in the community. Messages of support flooded in, turning Rex and Luna into symbols of resilience and unwavering loyalty. But as the excitement built, Dr. Harris felt a weight pressing down on her. What if they found Captain Hawthorne, only to discover he had moved on? What if the wounds of war had created an insurmountable chasm between him and his beloved companions? The thought sent shivers down her spine, but she pushed it aside, focusing on the mission ahead. Meanwhile, scanning the faces of his soldiers. It's been a known hideout for those who have been lost or gone off the grid. Captain Hawthorne could be there. The soldiers exchanged glances, their expressions a mix of determination and apprehension. They understood the stakes. This mission could change everything for Rex and Luna, but it also held the potential for heartbreak. As they set out, the sun dipped lower in the sky, casting long shadows over the rugged terrain. The path to the encampment was treacherous, winding through dense woods and rocky hills. Each soldier felt the weight of their duty as they navigated the landscape, their hearts racing with the hope of a reunion. Back at the shelter, the staff and volunteers gathered in a small room, eyes glued to their phones for updates. The atmosphere was thick with anticipation. Everyone felt as if they were part of something monumental. News outlets began to pick up the story, broadcasting Rex and Luna's plight and the military's mission to locate Captain Hawthorne. But the tension was palpable. As the hours passed, doubts crept in. What if they don't find him? Mia whispered, her voice trembling. What if something terrible happened? Tom placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. We have to believe. These dogs have fought for their lives and now we fight for theirs. We can't lose hope. Just then, the sound of a vehicle approaching broke through the silence. Hearts raced as they rushed to the windows, eyes scanning the horizon for any sign of the military team. But as the vehicle pulled into the shelter's driveway, it wasn't the military they saw. It was a local news crew, eager to cover the unfolding story. Are you ready for your moment? The reporter asked, her eyes bright with excitement. We want to showcase the incredible bond between these dogs and their handler. Meanwhile, deep in the woods, Colonel Ramirez and his team pressed forward, the encampment drawing closer with each step. Shadows danced around them as they moved, the air thick with tension. They communicated in hushed tones, each soldier acutely aware of the mission's delicate nature. Suddenly, a rustle in the bushes froze them in their tracks. Heartbeats quickened as they scanned their surroundings. Colonel Ramirez signaled for silence. The team instinctively falling into formation. The forest was alive with sounds, but they were focused, every instinct heightened as they prepared for the unknown. Stay alert, Colonel Ramirez whispered, his voice firm. We don't know what we'll find. As they continued, the landscape shifted, revealing a clearing. There, in the distance, a faint glow of a fire flickered against the darkening sky. The soldiers exchanged glances, understanding they were on the brink of something significant. But with each step, the weight of the past loomed larger. What if Captain Hawthorne was not the same man they remembered? What if the horrors of war had changed him irrevocably? The questions gnawed at them, but they pressed on, driven by the mission that transcended individual fears. The closer they got, the more the air crackled with anticipation. It was a moment that could redefine everything. A potential reunion that could heal old wounds or deepen them even further. As they approached the encampment, they could see figures moving around the fire. Colonel Ramirez motioned for his team to hold back, a wave of caution washing over him. We need to assess the situation first, he instructed, his gaze fixed on the flickering flames. Just then a voice broke through the stillness. Who goes there? A weathered figure called out, emerging from the shadows. The voice was rough, filled with uncertainty, but there was a familiar cadence that struck a chord deep within Colonel Ramirez. Captain Hawthorne? He called out, stepping into the light, his heart racing with hope and fear. The figure turned, eyes narrowing at the sight of the soldiers. As recognition dawned, a mixture of disbelief and emotion washed over Captain Hawthorne's face. What are you doing here? He asked, his voice trembling. We've come for Rex and Luna, Colonel Ramirez replied, his voice steady but filled with urgency. They're waiting for you. They fought for your return, and now it's time to bring them home. In that moment, the weight of the past collided with the present. The flickering firelight danced across their faces, illuminating the pain and hope that lingered in the air. Captain Hawthorne's eyes glistened with unshed tears as he processed the reality of what lay before him. The chance to be reunited with the companions who had stood by his side through the darkest of days. Rex and Luna, they're alive? He whispered, disbelief etched on his features. Yes, Colonel Ramirez replied, his heart pounding. They've never given up on you and neither have we. It's time to come home. As Captain Hawthorne stepped forward, the world around them faded away. The bond between man and dog was about to be reignited, a powerful testament to loyalty that could withstand the test of time. As the sun began to set, casting a warm glow over the shelter, a sense of anticipation filled the air. The volunteers and staff were buzzing with excitement, but they were also weighed down by a lingering uncertainty. Colonel Ramirez and his team were on their way to find Captain Hawthorne, and everyone held their breath, hoping for a miraculous reunion. Dr. Harris stood at the window watching the horizon, her thoughts racing. What would happen if they found him? Would he want to return to a life he had left behind? The questions spiraled in her mind, but she pushed them aside, focusing on the hope that had blossomed in the hearts of everyone at the shelter. Meanwhile, in the remote encampment, Captain Hawthorne sat by the flickering fire, grappling with the ghosts of his past. Memories flooded his mind, images of Rex and Luna running alongside him during missions, their unyielding loyalty in the face of danger. They had been his lifeline, his family in a world that felt increasingly alien. But the war had changed him. It had stripped away parts of himself he feared he could never reclaim. As Colonel Ramirez and his team approached, the air grew thick with tension. "Stay sharp," he whispered to his men, their eyes scanning the shadows for any sign of movement. They were ready to face whatever awaited them, but deep inside, they were also carrying the weight of hope. A hope that had been reignited by the very K9s they were searching for. "Captain," Colonel Ramirez called out, stepping into the clearing. "We've come to bring you home. Rex and Luna are waiting for you. They've never given up on you." Hawthorne's heart raced at the mention of their names. He stood up, uncertainty clouding his gaze. "They're alive?" he breathed, the words barely escaping his lips. "Yes," Colonel Ramirez replied, his voice steady. "They're in a shelter and they've been waiting for you. It's time to end this chapter and reunite with your family." But as the soldiers moved closer, a revelation struck like a thunderbolt. Captain Hawthorne hesitated, grappling with a painful truth he had buried deep within. "I can't go back," he said, his voice cracking. "I'm not the same person anymore. I don't deserve to see them." The soldiers exchanged glances, confusion etched on their faces. They had come with hope, but now they faced a sudden turn in the narrative. "What do you mean?" Colonel Ramirez asked, his brow furrowing. "They need you. You need them." Hawthorne shook his head, tears welling in his eyes. "I left them behind. In the chaos I couldn't save them. I failed them. And I can't face them knowing that." The revelation hung in the air, a heavy weight that threatened to crush the fragile hope. The soldiers felt the tension shift, realizing that the journey ahead was not just about finding Captain Hawthorne. It was about helping him confront the demons that had plagued him since the day he was declared missing. "We all have our scars from the war," one of the soldiers spoke up, his voice steady. "But we also have the chance to heal. Rex and Luna need you to fight for them just as you fought for them back then." Hawthorne's heart raced as he absorbed the words. The soldiers were right. It was time to confront the truth, to face the guilt that had shadowed him for so long. "What if they don't want to see me?" he whispered, fear gripping him. "They've waited for you all this time," Colonel Ramirez reassured him. "They've been holding on to hope just like we have. Don't let your past define your future. You owe it to them to at least try." As the weight of the moment pressed down on him, Captain Hawthorne felt something shift within. A flicker of determination ignited, fueled by the love he had for Rex and Luna. "I can't just leave them," he finally said, voice steadying. "I need to see them. I owe them that much." With renewed resolve, the soldiers rallied around him, guiding him back towards the vehicle that would take them to the shelter. The path was fraught with uncertainty, but as they stepped into the fading light, hope began to rise once more. Back at the shelter, the staff and volunteers were still buzzing with anticipation. They gathered around the television, watching news updates that showcased the extraordinary bond between Rex, Luna, and Captain Hawthorne. The world was captivated and the story was spreading like wildfire. Suddenly, the shelter doors burst open and in walked Colonel Ramirez. Captain Hawthorne trailing behind him, his demeanor a mixture of anxiety and determination. The room fell silent as eyes widened in disbelief. "Rex, Luna," Captain Hawthorne called out, his voice breaking the stillness. The dogs, sensing their handler's presence, perked up instantly. Their tails wagged furiously as they rushed towards him, their spirits ignited by the familiar voice they had longed to hear. In that moment, the world outside faded away. Rex and Luna collided with Hawthorne, showering him with affection, their joy palpable. Tears streamed down Hawthorne's face as he knelt, embracing his beloved companions. "I'm so sorry," he whispered, his voice thick with emotion. "I'm here now. I'll never leave you again." The room erupted in applause, the emotional weight of the reunion overwhelming everyone present. It was a moment of healing, a testament to the unbreakable bond forged in love, loyalty, and sacrifice. But beneath the surface, a deeper understanding began to unfold. Captain Hawthorne realized that the journey ahead was not just about reuniting with Rex and Luna, it was about confronting the scars of war, allowing himself to heal, and embracing the love that had never truly left him. As the sun dipped below the horizon, the shelter became a sanctuary of hope. The journey of Rex, Luna, and Captain Hawthorne was only just beginning, filled with the promise of redemption, healing, and the unyielding bond that would guide them through the challenges ahead. As the reunion unfolded within the shelter, a wave of emotion washed over the room, enveloping everyone present in a shared sense of relief and joy. Captain Hawthorne knelt on the floor, his arms wrapped tightly around Rex and Luna, who responded with exuberant barks and tail wags that spoke of their unyielding love. It was a moment that transcended words, a testament to the bond forged through shared experiences, loyalty, and the trials of war. The shelter staff and volunteers watched, tears glistening in their eyes, each one acutely aware that this was more than just a reunion. It was a healing of hearts long burdened by loss and uncertainty. Dr. Harris stood nearby, her heart swelling with pride and joy as she witnessed the culmination of hope, determination, and love. She had fought for this moment, and now it was unfolding right before her eyes. But the journey was far from over. As the initial excitement began to settle, the reality of Captain Hawthorne's struggles loomed large. He had returned to the dogs he loved, but the scars of war still marred his soul. The joy of their reunion was mixed with the shadows of anguish that lingered in his heart. The weight of his past pressed down on him, and he knew he could not fully embrace the present until he confronted the pain he had carried for so long. "Rex, Luna," he murmured, holding them close, "I'm so sorry for everything. I thought I had lost you both forever." His voice cracked as he spoke, vulnerability spilling forth. The dogs, sensing their handler's turmoil, leaned against him, their warmth a reminder of the love that had never wavered. "Dr. Harris stepped forward, her voice gentle yet firm. "You don't have to face this alone, Captain. We're here to help you heal. Just as Rex and Luna fought for you, you can fight for yourself now." Hawthorne looked up, meeting her gaze. "I don't know if I can," he admitted, the vulnerability raw and exposed. "The memories, they haunt me. I don't want to drag them back into the darkness. But they've been waiting for you to break free from that darkness," she urged, her words resonating with a deep truth. "They've stood by you through everything. It's time to honor that bond by allowing yourself to heal. You owe it to them and to yourself." In that moment, something shifted within Captain Hawthorne. He realized the journey ahead wouldn't be easy, but it was a path worth taking. The love of his dogs was a lifeline, and it was time to grasp it with both hands. "You're right," he said, determination igniting within him. "I'll do it for them." As the days turned into weeks, the shelter became a sanctuary not just for Rex and Luna, but for Captain Hawthorne as well. Together, they embarked on a healing journey that intertwined their fates, filled with moments of laughter, therapy sessions, and quiet afternoons in the sun. The bond they shared deepened, forged anew through shared experiences of healing. News of their reunion spread beyond the shelter, capturing the hearts of people worldwide. Social media buzzed with updates, showcasing not only the dog's recovery but also Captain Hawthorne's journey toward healing. People began to share their own stories of loss, love, and redemption, creating a powerful community united by their shared experiences. One day, as the sun dipped low in the sky, casting a golden hue over the shelter, Dr. Harris gathered the staff and volunteers. "We've done something incredible here," she said, her voice filled with emotion. "Not only have we reunited these heroes, but we've also shown the world the importance of healing and the power of love." The room erupted in applause, filled with the understanding that their efforts had made a difference. They had not only saved 2 dogs, they had helped a man reclaim his life and purpose. If this story is touching your heart, make sure to subscribe for more incredible stories like this one. Dr. Harris continued, her eyes shining with passion. "Together, we can keep sharing these moments of hope and healing, reminding everyone that love knows no bounds." As Captain Hawthorne continued to heal, he found the strength to share his story with others. Veterans who struggled with their own demons, families torn apart by the ravages of war. He became an advocate for mental health, using his experiences to help others find their way back to the light. Rex and Luna, once forgotten heroes, became symbols of resilience and healing. Their story inspired countless others, reminding everyone that even in the darkest of times, hope could emerge. They were not just dogs. They were living testaments to the unbreakable bonds of love and loyalty. In the end, the shelter transformed from a place of sorrow to one of celebration. Rex and Luna, alongside Captain Hawthorne, became a beacon of hope for those who had lost their way. Their journey was a reminder that healing is possible, that love can conquer even the deepest scars, and that sometimes, the most profound stories are the ones forged in the fires of adversity. As the sun set on the shelter, casting a warm glow over the trio, it became clear that their story was far from over. It was only the beginning of a new chapter, one filled with love, laughter, and the promise of brighter days ahead. Together they would continue to inspire others, proving that the bonds we share can transcend even the darkest of pasts.